Good afternoon, and welcome to the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, uniquely Urbandale. I'm J. Michael McCoy, your host for today. And in these uniquely Urbandale programs, we get to meet some of the awesome members of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Matt Gardner. Matt is a sole practitioner with the Gardner Law Firm. You can reach him at gardnerlawpc.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
And you are primarily a trust and estate lawyer.
Correct. Trust and estates, so dealing with those people that have died or those that are planning to die. So it kind of covers all groups of people.
I was going to say, you're never going to run out of customers, are you?
So far, so good.
All right, so I have found that I have something wrong with me, and I've got a couple years to live, and I come to you. What would be the typical questions that I would ask you?
Well, a lot of questions are focused on how do you want assets to pass? Who's going to make decisions over you, whether it's dealing with medical decisions. If it comes to a point where you can't make medical decisions, who's going to be making decisions over your investments, your assets, how those are going to be planned and taken care of. So there's a lot of things that go into that process if you get to that point.
All right, so let's give the opposite situation. I just dropped dead. Nobody planned on that happening. It just happened. My loved ones come to you, and I have a will that my attorney drew up, but that's all I've got.
Then at that point, it's just a process of working through the assets, working through your situation. So if you do have a will, great. We go through the process where you probate your will. We go and transfer assets where they need to go to. If you don't have a will, there's still a plan for you, whether you wanted it or not. But that's kind of part of the process, what we call probate process, taking assets that a deceased individual owned and transferring them to whomever they want them to go to.
And can this be as simple as I want to give my ring to this person and I want to give my watch to this person?
Exactly. It can be your grandfather clock that you've been passed down from generations to your investment account, to your checking account, to your house.
Okay. So what I'm also hearing you say is that if I don't have a will, you would be an individual that I should come to create that document and put into place the process in case or when I'm gone.
Yep, exactly. Planning ahead is much preferred than relying upon the default provisions, because the default provisions of what the Iowa Code provides may not be what you would want.
And the default positions in the Iowa Code are not good. I mean, that's my opinion, not yours. But tell our audience what they are.
A common example you would have, let's say you pass away and you have a wife, and you also have children from a prior relationship. In that situation, if you don't have a will, what would happen is that half of those assets would go to your wife, and the other half would go to your kids from the prior marriage. That may not be what you would want. Your spouse may not want to share, and your kids may not want to share. So you have a lot of unhappy people in that situation.
And I should have taken care of that.
Exactly.
Because otherwise they're going to have to deal with it, and I would imagine that's a mess.
Exactly.
In many times.
Yep. It can be a very difficult mess, and families can get torn apart over these types of situations.
Matt, answer me this if you can, please. How about the taxes, the death taxes and the things like that? Do you also deal with that, or do I need to bring an accountant in on that?
Nope. Certainly that's something we can plan for, and we can also provide assistance on doing those returns. In Iowa, death taxes are becoming even rarer and rarer. It's just not a very common situation, but it can pop up, and we can certainly guide through that process.
Now, wait a minute. Back up. Death taxes are becoming more rare?
Correct.
I was under the impression that the government was raising and making it harder for you to pass those assets on to somebody else without heavy tax.
Well, if your estate is greater than $5.45 million, then yeah, there are some taxes. But if you're below $5.4 million, then you don't have to worry about federal estate taxes. And as far as Iowa inheritance taxes, anything that goes to a spouse, child, grandchild, or charity, 100% tax-free, regardless of the amount.
I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me that. I always was under the impression that Iowa was a little bit on the other side of the tracks, that they were kind of hard on people after they died.
It used to be. a little more harsher on the taxes, but they've been changing over the past several years. So for now, many estates don't have any Iowa inheritance taxes.
All right. So if someone does not have a will, they should definitely call you.
Definitely.
If someone has a will and it's wrong, it's outdated, it doesn't say what they thought they did. My will, you made me just think about it. My will's 31 years old. There's a lot of things that have changed in my life in 31 years.
It could be perfectly fine, or it could be needing to be updated.
Can you give our audience some type of price or cost it would be to make out a regular will?
Sure.
Under the $5.4 million.
Sure, you bet. One of the things that's unique about the way I propose my services is that I operate on a flat fee basis. So when I meet with a client and I kind of understand what they're looking to do, I can give them a fee as to what it's going to cost, and there's no surprises at the end. Unfortunately, attorneys are notorious for nickel and diming and adding every phone call and every email, whereas when I do my services, they'll know up front what it's going to be. Those services can range, depending on the type of plan and how in depth, anywhere from $250 all the way up to probably about $2,200 is about the top level for more of your standard plans.
Okay. And the standard plans would include a lot of breakout, unpacking, 28 different people get something. Does that increase the cost?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Oh.
No. Typically, things that increase the cost, if we have certain beneficiaries that are younger or beneficiaries that have money management concerns, we would structure a trust in place for those individuals so that they're not mismanaging the money or the money's not being spent unwisely. So those types of plans where we're structuring it in over ages or putting in provisions over when and how they get the money, that's where the cost would go up depending on the type of complexity.
All right. Well, Matt, I appreciate you being here today. And thank you very much, and thank you for what you do.
Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it.
Today, I've been with Matt Gardner, Gardner, with Gardner Law, and that's GardnerLawPC.com, and that's where you can reach Matt. And I would strongly encourage you to do business with people who belong to the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, because they're usually the best people around. For Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, this is Uniquely Urbandale. I'm J. Michael McCoy for WebcastOneLive.com.